You're very welcome to the Irish Political Roundup with me, Paul Brophy.
And me, Roisin the Cleric.
We're here, Roisin, outside Lienster House at the corridors of power, and General Election 2024 has been officially called. It will be taking place on Friday, the 29th of November 2024, where we will be going from 160 TDs to 174 TDs, so an extra 14 TDs will be sitting in the new 34th Dáil. The 33rd Dáil has been, we've seen a lot in those 5 years. Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael actually went into a formal coalition. We had a pandemic, we've had wars in Europe, we've had wars in Gaza, we've had cost of living, we've had immigration has become a massive issue, and President-elect Donald Trump is back in office this week as well.
Yes, indeed, Paul. And it's quite interesting to see who's all wearing red ties.
Yeah, exactly. And just an interesting note for our American viewers, this building here, Lienster House, was used as an inspiration for the White House, which was designed by a Kennyman, James Hogan from Desert. So it's an interesting link to the history. And this building here was built in 1747 by Richard Castles, who was a German architect for the Earl of Kildare. So it's a very, very historic building, and it has been the home of the Irish Parliament since 1922. So it's, a building with a lot of history. And to your left and to your right, you have the National Library of Ireland, which is actually a copyright library, Roisin. So
really,
yeah. So any book that is written in either the UK or Ireland, they have to send 2 copies there and 2 copies to Trinity College down there. So that's an important note. And beside there is the Ag House, the Irish National Museum is there beside us. So a lot of history here.
And a lot of movement here too, Paul.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we're empathizing as we go along.
Absolutely, yeah, because with extra 14 new TDs being going to be in the 34th Dáil, they have to create extra space, offices. Now, do we need 174 TDs? That's a totally other question. But that's why there's a lot of activity here. So this Dáil, the 33rd Dáil, has now been dissolved. All the TDs are now gone to their constituencies. Some will be coming back, some won't. There's a lot of retirements, Roisin. I think in Fine Gael alone there's 18 TDs.
That's a lot.
That is a lot, yeah. And I think between various different retirements, and we have a couple of 3 TDs that were elected to Europe, so 33 will have to be filled. So one will be interesting, 18 TDs for not running for Fine Gael. That's a big ask to see. I get 18 new candidates re-elected. So I said that will determine how the future goes for them. If they can maintain as many of those seats as they possibly can, that should put them in a chance of forming the next government. And
Phil Hogan is back officially in the official fold.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's had a massive role to play for Fine Gael in the last little while. I think he's the unofficial director of elections, or unofficial Secretary General.
And a Kilkenny man.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And he's been doing a lot of work trying to help the Kilkenny County Board as well with their corporate fundraising as well. So Phil will have a lot of connections in Europe. So
some say he's the most influential man in Europe. So will he have a role now of being the influential man in Europe with the most influential man in the world, President-elect President Donald J. Trump?
Absolutely, because his last portfolio when he was EU Commissioner was for trade, which is absolutely massive between Ireland and America, EU and America. So I say he'd definitely have a key role to play somewhere. I could see him getting a role, maybe an EU ambassador to Europe or something like that, EU ambassador to America or something like that. I think a role like that he would do very, very well, and I think he would be crucial for Ireland, because I think there's a lot of talk to scaremongering too, Roisin.
Oh, a lot of scaremongering.
That is the sky going to fall in with Donald Trump? He'll bring all the...
Not at all.
They'd still need a European base, and he is a businessman at the end of the day, so...
But he's a builder too, Paul, so you know what? Yeah. He's a builder. He might help sort out the housing crisis here in Ireland.
He might, but He's a
Trump's
businessman.
the builder.
He's a businessman, and he always wants to do a deal. What's his book called? The Art of the Deal. So there's plenty of deals to be made.
And Paul, too, it's going to be very interesting how many people are saying, you know, oh, we won't work with Trump. Oh, well, no, we will work with Trump. The President Donald J. Trump, you know, he got some America. When you think about America, it was a Red Sea event.
He won the popular vote. The Republicans also control the Senate. They have the House of Representatives. They're going to have picks on the Supreme Court, and they also won the Electoral College. So basically, he has control of all the levers of powers for the next 2 years anyway, uninterrupted. So he has scope to carry out a lot of things. Whether he'll be able to do them is another thing, but he definitely has the platform to do it now, and the mandate from the people.
Well, Paul, I was always, and I'm not afraid or ashamed to say it, and I'm not going to say it quietly, I was always a President Donald J. Trump supporter. Donald J. Trump delivers for America. He delivers for his people. And there was no wars in the world like President Donald Trump was president. And you can say that about Phil Hogan too. You either like him, you don't like him, or you're indifferent. Phil Hogan definitely delivered for Ireland. I don't know the man. You know, I've only met him very briefly, twice, very briefly. And one brief was like, you know, like 10 seconds, you know, but very briefly. But we need politicians who are going to deliver for the people of Ireland. That's what the people want.
Because I actually saw somebody put a picture of their grocery bill in America, and some of the prices for basic things like bread and milk was absolutely incredible. So the cost of living is a massive issue in America with inflation. So that's probably one of the things he's going to have to hit the ground running on, because you know you have people going to cash registers at the supermarket and they're putting stuff back. You know, it's
we're doing it here too, Paul. We're doing it here.
Absolutely scary and frightening. So that's probably one of the big issues that he's going to have to address.
But Paul, this is what is going to have to be addressed here. We need to sort out our crime. We need to sort out our defence forces. We need to sort out our healthcare system. We need to sort out the education, employment. They say employment's up. Yes, but Paul, we're not manufacturing anything or making anything in Ireland. We're too dependent on the multinationals.
We are, and I suppose maybe the fright of maybe Donald Trump probably bringing back.
That's fear-mongering, Paul. We won't even say that. You know why we won't say it? We're feeding into the negative narrative. President Donald J. Trump, if you work with him, he'll work with you.
Exactly. But we do need to become more self-reliant, and we also need to be able to say, yeah, we can make loads of things here to a very, very good standard. You know,
Paul, we used to be the manufacturing. I'm from Derry. We were the shirt factory city of Europe. And that all went to Morocco. We also had a denim factory. Daysman's denim factory. And we were in Marks and Spencer's here. And what were we looking at? Where were they made?
Made in Bangladesh.
Let's bring back manufacturing back to Ireland. Just like what Donald J. Trump is bringing back the manufacturing to America. Let's bring manufacturing back to Ireland. Let's get our agriculture, our farming, our fisheries. Let's bring back our small local businesses, which is the DNA of every town, every village, every city, in every county, and in Ireland.
And you mentioned Derry as well. Just best of luck to Derry City in the FA Cup final tomorrow against Raleigh United.
The Candy Stripes.
The Candy Stripes. So
down the Brandywell.
Oh, the Brandywell.
So Paul, you know, what do you think this election is going to bring Ireland? Will it be back a Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael government? Will there be a third party involved, or will they just sweep the boards? They did in the local elections.
They did very well in the local elections. Combined Sinn Féin had a very, very poor local election, and probably since, let's say, last summer, Sinn Féin has been kind of on a downward curve, which is quite incredible. Because when I remember looking at when we did a programme on the new constituencies back in summer 2023, and I was saying, well, Sinn Féin could win 2 there. Sinn Féin might, you know, now you'll be saying, go to keep the one they have, you know, in certain places. You know, it's going to be a very, very interesting election. It's the first November election we've had since 1992.
But Paul, I always listen to what Phil Hogan said on the Sean O'Rourke show. He said he didn't want a February election. And I said to you, I'm listening to everything that he said in the Sean O'Rourke interview. And everything that he said in the Sean O'Rourke interview has happened. He said he didn't want a February election. We're having it in November.
Yeah, exactly. In the last 2 February elections, for example, Fine Gael have done very, very badly because they've been in government. But in the last week or two, we've seen a number of all the extra payments that have related to the budget in social welfare. They've kicked in. The finance bill has been passed, which gives effect to all those different tax changes and additional social welfare payments. So people have a bit of extra money in their pockets, and I think that's what the government are looking for. There's a bit of goodwill sentiment that they reckon should get them back into power in the 34th Dáil. The question is, the Green Party, the 12 seats, will they be able to retain those 12 seats? I don't know. It's going to be difficult. So they may look for another third way, a third part of that way. So I think you're probably seeing another election within an election. You go, who's going to be the next part of that coalition? Could it be the Labour Party? Could it be the Social Democrats? Could it be Independent Ireland? Could it even be independents who are still polling, pretty well on 15%? So we're going to see well over 25 independents elected here to the next.
Do you think so, Paul?
I think so too. Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's all to play for. If we go by what the local elections, the outcome of the local elections, it will be a Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael government. Sinn Féin have lost all. What appears to be have lost all their influence.
Yeah, I think the subject of immigration has kind of hit.
And the referendum, Paul, and the transgender ideology as well, and the definition of a woman. Yeah,
and I suppose also as well, where the government of here, they have significant surpluses of money to play with, which gives them a bit of firepower as well. And then we have the whole 14 billion. Apple money. Where's that going to go in the next Dáil? Some people say, where should we spend it? Should we spend it on housing? Should we spend it on infrastructure? Should we spend it on water? There's a lot of areas that money could be spent, but there seems to be a consensus it's going to go into one-off infrastructure projects, which makes sense because it's one-off expenditure. Like if you try to budget that for like regular expenditure, that's dangerous, because if that flow of money ever disappears, you're in trouble.
So Paul, what do you think is going to be, do you think would they have, will it be like the last time in 2020? Do you think will it take 3 months to form a government, or do you think it will happen quicker?
I think it'll be a lot quicker, because if Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael have the numbers straight away between them, that will be pretty certain they'll form a government fairly. It might be a little bit short numbers wise, because with the new Dáil having 174 TDs, the magic number you need to form a government is 87. So if Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael were short maybe 4 or 5 seats, they may look to independence, for example, Roisin. So I think it'll probably be negotiated over the Christmas period. So I'd say there'll definitely be a new government well in place before 1st of January. But then again, look, we don't know what can happen. These elections, to take on a life of their own as well. Okay, you have national issues as well, like housing, cost of living, healthcare, immigration, and then each constituency has its own local dynamics as well. So like, in some areas there could be questions. To give you an example of a local dynamic, you have the University Hospital in Limerick. That is a big issue in Limerick and in North Tipperary. So that's going to be one of the big local issues in that area. So it just goes to show, Roisin, that there is also local dynamics within a national election as well. And important thing to remember from the local elections to this election, in the local elections only 50% of people turned out to vote. So there's another 50% stayed at home. So you'll be expecting a bigger turnout for a general election. Yeah, and we're now here at the front, which is actually the front of the government buildings, where we also have the Department of the Taoiseach and the Department of Finance and Public Expenditure just a couple of feet away from us, Roisin. And of course, the man in the Taoiseach seat at the moment is Simon Harris, and his constituency is Wicklow, and that's gone from a 5-seater down to a 4-seater. And let's not forget, Roisin, Simon Harris was elected in Wicklow in 2020 on the 15 count, so he'll be hoping to do considerably better than that, and maybe even bring his running mate in with him, Edward Timmins. And it's interesting as well, Sheikh Cullen, who was who was running as an independent, was a Fine Gael councillor up to a couple of weeks ago. He missed out in the nomination, and now he's running as an independent. So could that be, could that scupper Fine Gael's chances of winning 2 seats in Wicklow? Possibly, but that's one of the many interesting dynamics that's happening in all these various different constituencies. And of course, let's not forget, we have a lot of retirements as well, so that's going to make things really interesting. We take Cork South Central, which is the constituency of Micheál Martin, who's the current Taoiseach and Minister for Foreign Affairs. Simon Coveney is retiring at this election, and Michael McGrath, who is going to be the new EU Commissioner, he has to step down as well. So his brother Seamus McGrath is running. He got 5,000 first preferences voting in the local election, so it's pretty safe to say I think he's going to hold on to that seat. But Fine Gael, the 2 new candidates running there, I suppose that's the thing, Roisin. These people, they're here so long, name recognition, track record, local constituency is massive. So that's the big challenge that Fine Gael face. I know they're doing well in the polls, but they have a lot of new candidates.
I don't trust polls.
Yes, polls.
And I've always said that to you over the years.
That's true.
Paul?
That's true. The polls predicted that Brexit wouldn't happen. Polls predicted Donald Trump wouldn't happen. There were polls saying that the referendums were going to pass, and it's going to the totally different way. So look, it is all to play for as well. So it's going to be a very interesting dynamic. There's lots of issues at play, not but here in Ireland and international. Of course, we have President-elect Donald Trump, the German government, that's in trouble as well. The list goes on and on.
So locally, Paul, and here and locally, nationally, what do you see happens? Talk about our own constituency, Carlow Kilkenny.
Carlow Kilkenny, well, it's a 5-seater. It's been, the 2 counties have been together, Roisin, since 1948 as a constituency. Now, the interesting thing happening this time, a little section of northwest Kilkenny, which has Tullaroan, Freshford, Galmoy, that's now gone into North Tipperary, which has caused a lot of consternation. A lot of people are not happy. Kilkenny, Tipperary, there's a big rivalry there.
My son is moving to North Tipperary.
Yeah.
Well, North Kilkenny, which is going to be Tipperary constituency.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be interesting to see what the turnout will be in that area of the North Tipperary constituency. And the gates are opening right behind us, so we don't know who could be coming out there, or whether we set the sensor off. It's hard to know. But Carlow Kilkenny is we have to move, unfortunately.
So Carlow Kilkenny, Paul,
it's a 5-seat constituency. I suppose the big changes are going to happen. There's going to be, you're guaranteed at least 2 new TDs, because John Paul Phelan of Fine Gael is retiring, and Kathleen Function of Sinn Féin, she was elected to the European Parliament as an MEP, and so she must vacate her seat there. So there's 2 vacancies now that have to be filled. So at the moment you have currently John McGuinness, Jennifer Murnane O'Connor of Fianna Fáil. You have Malcolm Noonan, who's the junior minister of the Green Party. You have John Paul Phelan of Fine Gael, who said is not running, and Kathleen Function of Sinn Féin, who's also not running because she's been elected as an MEP. So I'm going to be, it's hard to make predictions.
We won't make predictions, Paul,
as we could have egg on our face, but we do know we're guaranteed 2 new TDs anyway. And another constituency which is interesting as well is Louth. 3 of the 5 TDs are retired. You have Imelda, not Imelda Mitch, you have the Sinn Féin lady, her name has escaped me, she's retiring. You have Fergus O'Dowd of Fine Gael, and you have Peter Fitzpatrick, the independent, he's retiring as well. So you're guaranteed 3 new TDs. So it just goes to show the number of incumbents that are not running. So it's going to be a very interesting new Dáil, because we're going to see a lot of new faces, extra faces. We're going from 160 to 174. But as we spoke with Cahillberry, it's going to be a different type of Dáil, because there's a lot of different outlooks and different approaches to things, and maybe some are a little bit inexperienced as well. So,
and you know what, regardless of what people say, we do need new faces. We do need new and And you can say that there isn't like a clean sweep happening because so many people are not going for re-election. However, we still need that political skill.
Oh, you do. Politics is a skill, and it's the art of negotiation. Because, as I say, anything is possible in politics, and things that you think are not going to happen can actually happen.
And we need people to deliver for us.
Exactly.
I think that's what people want now. We're sick of the word salad and the fakery. We want people who will deliver for the people of Ireland, and that is key. And you know, that's what America wanted, and America came out, as I said, but Ireland want that too. We want people to deliver. We want jobs. We want more a balance with work life.
Absolutely,
we want family values back.
People want access to services when they need them. You know, the waiting lists for therapies and such like that within the health services, it's massive. It's massive. So
I'm interested to see, will there be a Department of Defence and a Minister of Defence? That needs to happen. Our fisheries, we've covered the fisheries, Paul.
Yeah, exactly. Now I know some MEPs have been calling for a junior minister for.
And that's only recently, Paul.
That's only very, very recently. But
we've been covering it for a full year.
Definitely. And
no one else talked about it until recently.
And it is absolutely bonkers when you think about a country does not have a full-time minister for defence. It's lumped in with foreign affairs. It's been lumped in with agriculture. It's been lumped in with justice over the last 10 years. So as Cathal Berry said, if you want to see a country's priorities, have a look at the composition of the cabinet.
And you know, I think the fisheries. I think we were talking to Patrick Murphy, and he was saying that they had a meeting with the MEPs. There was no talk of the MEPs talking about the fisheries for years. And then the PESH committee. Is it the PESH committee?
There's actually no Irish MEP on it, strangely enough.
And also the fact that the MEP Maria Walsh immediately after that meeting set up a meeting with the
new agriculture commissioner.
Yes. And then Kathleen Function recently has come out to say it. But you know, whether we're an inland constituency or not, we still eat fish. We still need to support our coastal communities as much as what we need to support our rural farming communities.
Absolutely, and the quota system that fishermen in this country have to work with is absolutely crazy. You have situations, Roisin, where if they have like an extra box of fish, they're scrambling over what we do with it, and you have French and Spanish trawlers coming in and cheating out places, you know.
And then we're buying back our own Irish fish.
Exactly.
And fish don't have passports.
No, they don't. They don't.
And see, when you think about it, Paul, you know, our fishing industry is like the farming. It is handed down by generation to the next generation to the next generation. All family businesses.
Absolutely.
And we went down to, as we said many times before, we went down to the Fishing Expo in Limerick.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Yeah, the amount of, you know, various different other industries that support the fishing industry is massive. Especially around technology, it's absolutely amazing, Roisin. It was literally like the Starship Enterprise. And I suppose another point that was made by Patrick Murphy, you know, it's a dangerous line of work because you're going out to sea and you don't know what the elements are going to be like. And unfortunately, we have men who have lost their lives at sea. So it is a dangerous way to make your living, and it must be hard on families as well when, you know, your loved ones are out at sea for long periods of time, and you're constantly worrying, will they come back okay? So it's definitely an industry that needs our full support.
I always love the interviews with the two Patricks, Patrick Murphy and Patrick O'Neill. The farming and the fishery, the agriculture.
Surf and turf.
So, Paul, we've covered an awful lot on, when you think we covered about the referendum, we covered the farming, the fisheries, the last year. We covered the referendum, we covered the definition of a woman, when nobody else would talk about it. We've talked about the transgender ideology, which is when nobody else would talk about it. Human trafficking, child trafficking, we've talked about that. We've talked about dyslexia, we've talked about autism, we've talked about neurodiversity, we've talked about small local businesses. We have been very proactive and very strategic in what we were talking about.
Absolutely.
Because we listen to what the ordinary people are talking about.
Exactly, and of course we covered
the gates opening again.
We covered the Kilkenny local election count as well back in June. So we had nearly 4,000 people watching in that weekend. So to all those 4,000 viewers, thank you so much for for watching, and thanks to all our viewers who have subscribed and watched videos here on the Irish Political Roundup. It really does mean a lot to us.
It really does, and we really appreciate every like, every view, and every comment, and every subscriber. We're a small, little wee YouTube channel who listening to the heart of the issues and problems that here the Irish people are having, and we just don't talk about politics. We talk to ordinary people to see what they're talking about and what other people are talking about, and that's, you know what, we're not censored. We only be careful what we have to say, so we don't get in the High Court with exactly. Media law, or so we can stay on YouTube.
Absolutely. And where do you think about it, Roisin? Nearly every issue is political. If you take the cars that people
I'm chipping over your umbrella.
You're okay. Whether it's the car you're driving, the shirt you're wearing, the street you live in, politics has a role to play in all of that, whether you like it or not. So
I always wonder when people say, "Oh, I'm not political." Where you're born is political. What school you go to, where you work, and what your education. Everything is political. And we've also talked about education, Paul, as well. We've also talked about the apprenticeships. We talked about housing.
Massive.
We talked about homelessness.
Yes.
So we've been very proactive, and we've had fun along the way.
That's the main thing. We've had fun. You know, it's been a real eye-opener for me. I always learn something new every program. There's always something to take away from, which is brilliant.
And Paul, we also have it, and now we have an American correspondence with Adam Dept.
Yeah, Adam is a very, very interesting guy, and I recommend people to check out that video. Adam is very, very sharp when it comes to US politics, and he's very, very good at explaining things in a simple way that, you know, I get, because American politics was something that I had an interest in, but it kind of was a bit, I don't know how it works. But in fairness to Adam, he's simplified that for me, and he definitely simplified it for our viewers as well.
And also, he's a veteran.
Yes,
absolutely. Of the American Air Force, and he's still a reservist.
Yeah.
And he's actually working now, doing his American Reserve duty days.
He's there for a couple of weeks, I think, isn't it?
Yeah,
or
a couple of days.
Sorry.
And we also have some exciting news coming up as well, because we're going to be doing a lot more little other podcasts apart from just the political, so do stay tuned for that.
Do.
And I'm excited, and we're going to start talking about different issues in different podcasts, but will be underneath the Irish Political Roundup umbrella, and the Competent Women Ireland, which is a sister podcast. Yeah,
exactly. So 2025, Roisin, it's going to be a busy year. 2024 has been very busy, and it's going to get even busier between now and Christmas, with the general election taking place on the 29th. So,
and then the inauguration of President Donald Trump.
Exactly.
And that is good. So it's going to be so busy. What's happening around nationally, locally, and regionally here in Ireland, and then internationally.
Exactly. Because there's wars in the Middle East and war in the Ukraine. So how they're going to pan out in the next while is going to be interesting as well, with a new president coming into office. So a lot happening across the world, and the German government is in big trouble as well. So that tells me that, you know, there's a lot happening in Europe.
And a lot was happening earlier on in the year with Japan, with finances and everything else. And we've had a blast. And when you think about it, Paul, 2024 has been a very busy year for our defence forces.
Very, very, very big.
The 122 Infantry Unifil Battalion returned back last November in 2023. Last November in 2023, the 124 Infantry Unifil Battalion went over to South Lebanon, Camp Shamrock, and then they returned back in May this year. And they're getting ready to return to Ireland to their families, and the 124 Infantry Unifil Battalion will be going back. And we just want to thank them all sincerely, to you, every man and woman in our Irish Defence Force. Thank you for your service, and to you, the families. We also are thinking of you, and thank you for your service and for your children.
Let's not forget, Roisin, they're there as observers for the UN, so they are so important. They are the eyes and the ears of the international community on the ground. So remember, there was some talk that they may have to pull pull them out
They were
of there.
never going to come back.
It was that, no, that it was very difficult there, but no, thankfully they're there and they're doing an amazing job.
The men and women over there didn't want to come back. There was never really a question. It was only put out there, Paul, by the media and by certain people. There was no way they could come back and leave their post.
No.
They're soldiers.
They're soldiers.
And they're trained for this.
Exactly.
They are absolutely trained for this. And this is what they're there to do. And that, that is key. They're trained soldiers, and they're highly trained soldiers.
Yes,
and skilled.
and highly respected. And there's been an Irish presence in the Middle East since 1958. So that goes to show the level of respect and the track record of peacekeeping the Irish Defence Forces have. Not just in the Middle East but all over the world. And
let's hope that the next programme for government will include a full Ministry of Defence,
yes,
and a full Minister of Defence and within the Department of Defence.
It has to happen, Ocean, because you need to be able to protect your country. It's a basic tenet of any society and any government. You need to be able to protect your citizens. So by right you have to have a fully functioning, operating Department of Defence.
But in fairness, though, they have Minister Jennifer Carl McNeill has said that at the Fine Gael Ardèche that there was going to be a huge investment into the Department of Defence and the Defence Forces.
Yeah, absolutely, and that can only be welcomed, because as we said earlier on, Russian was 14 billion from Apple that we have coming in the next little while, so surely the Department of Defence should get a slice of that.
And we just moved again because there's someone going in
yeah,
to the Department of the Taoiseach. So it's still very busy, although it is the Dáil has been dissolved. It still seems to be very busy here at the Department.
There's civil servants in there, the permanent government, so Taoiseachs and ministers come and go, but the civil servants or the permanent government, as they said, they keep the show on the road.
Well, Paul, it's been a blast, hasn't it?
Yes, absolutely. It's been great. We've learned a lot. We've met some really interesting people, covered some really interesting topics, and I suppose number one, it wouldn't be possible without our viewers. So everyone, as I said, who liked our videos, shared them, subscribed, viewed them, thank you so much. It really means the world to us.
It really does, and I apologise if the camera is slightly shaky. I'm holding the selfie stick, and my hands. So I do apologise for the camera if it's shaky. So before anybody puts anything in the comments, I give my apologies. Yeah. So Paul,
I promise you hasn't been drinking.
Coffee.
Yeah.
Coffee.
But you need coffee. Yeah, absolutely.
And so Paul, I want to thank you too.
Thank you.
I really enjoy what we talk about behind the scenes.
Yeah.
We're never short of conversation, two of us.
No, absolutely not. It's opened up so many different kind of thoughts for me on various different things as well, and changed my perspectives on a few things. And you were saying things over the years, Roisin, now talking like, that's not going to happen, or I think that's a bit. But then you're saying to yourself, oh my gosh, it's actually right. so the days of me saying, not going to happen, I don't say that anymore.
And I think nobody can predict the future,
no,
but you can strategize and have one or two, if this doesn't happen. And what we used to play was join the dots. Do you remember? We used to be on the phone, join the what is this?
Yeah.
Well, if we're wrong, we go back to the drawing board,
exactly,
and we'll go back to the dots.
If you're right, great. If you're wrong, you just don't say anything.
And Paul, but thank you, because I've really enjoyed this, and we've had some laughs, and we've had some moments where we're both scratching our heads.
Yeah,
going,
that's it. It's like everything can be up and down, but no, it's been a fabulous experience. So
that's it from us at the up at Dublin, outside the government buildings. Paul always knows I forget what I'm going to say. I forget the words, and Paul always is there to back me up.
Exactly. So this Dáil, the 33rd Dáil, has been dissolved. We're now into the 34th Dáil. So let's see what election 2024 brings up, and will Fianna Fáil Fine Gael be returned to government, or will we see a whole new government? Nobody knows, but look, it'll be interesting anywhere between now and then. Well, what I find interesting is, Paul, the 33rd Dáil has been a very active
and a lot of things have happened in the 33rd Dáil. Is that saying something?
Yeah.
The 33rd Dáil.
33rd.
When you think all that what has happened this year.
Yeah, the last four to 8 years, yeah, between Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael actually deciding to bury the hatchet and go into a formal coalition. Who would have thought that have ever happened 20 years ago? We've had pandemics, we've had wars in Ukraine, we've had immigration protests and crisis, we've had cost of living, you know, and Donald Trump getting back into the White House as well. So a lot has happened.
And a lot has happened, and J.F. Kennedy going from Democrat to Republican, and you know, he was running for the presidency, and then he, you know, changed sides, and that is what I would say. Donald Trump had enough. People say he's misogynistic and everything else, but more women were at the MAGA rallies. More women backed Donald Trump. Donald Trump brought up more issues relating to women, and with the J.F. Kennedy, it's making America healthy again.
Exactly, because he's going to be the health secretary. So
is he going to be the health secretary?
I say, I reckon he's going.
Are you predicting that,
I'm
Paul?
going to predict that. I know we said we can't predict the future, but that is a pretty safe prediction, and he is going to go to war on a number of issues, particularly fluoride in your water over there, the additives in food which are making people sick. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what he does.
And I think it's going to be very interesting what happens here in Ireland,
100%.
and who will be the movers and shakers and working with President Donald J. Trump.
Yeah, exactly. And who's going to be the kingmaker for the next government? Will it be independents? Will it be Social Democrats? Will it be the Labour Party? Will the Greens actually, will they hang on? Will they?
I hope not.
Well, you know.
I hope not, Paul. And I don't think. I think people have had enough of the green agenda, and that is the green agenda has divided this country. It has really, really turned families against one another, friends against one another, colleagues, children, and with all this ideology and the green agenda.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how they fare out. If they come back with three, 4 seats, I think that'll be a good day for them.
And you know what? It's up to you, the people of Ireland now, who you vote in to be the next 34th Dáil of Dáil Éireann.
Because our job, citizens, is go out, vote, fill the seats, and it's up to those in the seats to form a government. So thank you for taking the time to listen to us here on the Irish Political Roundup. So from me, Paul Brophy.
And me, Roisin the Cleric.
Have a great day, and thank you.